Aemon seemed more thoughtful, introspective.
Yeah,
He's being picked on because he didn't have a dragon. And then as soon as he gets a dragon, he's a dick.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like I was all the time thinking, like, at what point can I be a dick?
Hail, Internet! It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We're here talking about House of the Dragon. Season 1, Episode 7. Driftmark. We open with Lena's funeral at Driftmark. She's the one who ordered her dragon Vagar to incinerate her last episode.
Yes. That's her.
That's her. The funeral brings Alicent and Rhaenyra's factions into uncomfortably close quarters. We end with Laenor and his Paranor Carl rowing away after faking Laenor's death. I know he spells it with a Q, but I can't help but think of Die Hard with Carl. I don't want neutral. I want dead. So anyway, I think that guy could fit into House of the Dragon.
Yes, I think he could. Yes,
got the hair.
Just spell his name a little differently.
That's right.
Boom, he's in.
He's in. So in any case, Paul.
Yes.
What did you think of episode 7?
Yeah, liked it. This is giving me a lot of intrigue, a lot of palace intrigue in there. You
were looking for more of that in Rings of Power for sure.
That's right. Yeah, less. They got plenty of intrigue to spare. They could lend some to Rings of Power.
That's right. Take some of our intrigue.
Yes, right. Yes, certainly like that. I think they've done a good job of showing why these people are in their positions, and it's understandable the amount of passion that Alicent had to exact vengeance. Even though I've definitely not been on her side, and I wasn't then either. It's sort of like, it's like it's still not reasonable. Even if you thought there was malice, even then you need to take a step back and think about the fact that they're kids.
There is a lot of moral grayness to everything, and there are no true heroes in this thing. But on Alicent's side, they've got the dickish trifecta. So it's it's Alicent, Kristen, and Aegon the son. They're all terrible people, and so it's hard to get worried. How are you gonna eclipse the trifecta of dickishness? Anyway, okay.
And now they got a dragon, a big old dragon.
Big old dragon.
Yeah, so liked it. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it too. I liked the non-verbal cues that were going on in that opening funeral shot, which was pretty extensive. I mean, that funeral, the eulogy and everything went on for a while, and there were a lot of people. It was Rhaenyra wants to walk over to Daemon, but then realizes, if I do that, he's the grieving husband. It's going to look terrible if I'm talking to him, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to walk over here. And then Alicent's checking out. So it's just you could see all these people communicating rather impassioned thoughts, basically just through their facial expressions.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool. So why do you think, I've got an idea, but why do you think Daemon laughed during the eulogy?
Oh, about thin blood? I think he was thinking about those kids, I think.
Yeah,
what about you?
I feel like, he was, I think he was laughing at the absurdity of the moment of it's Lena's brother doing the eulogy is taking that moment to basically point out that Rhaenyra's kids are not pure blood, which is she's right there and her kids are right there. They're feet away. They're attending the funeral. And in that moment, to call them out, I think was what made Damon's what? It was almost like a come on, man,
Oh, I think they were just saying that. I mean, I don't think it was deliberate in terms of calling them out. I feel like it was sort of, we believe the lie too. Yes, our blood is strong, and so I think he was laughing because that's ridiculous. But okay. I think that it's important to them to establish that blood is strong and that's why we're bound. So that's my interpretation of it.
Okay. I thought the brother was saying, hey, Lena's kids were pure blood.
Oh, okay.
Unlike some others we could name Laenor's kids. Anyway. So, but maybe I'm wrong. You're right. Maybe that's more of the interpretation that Daemon is laughing that they're still going with the lie. Okay, maybe that's it.
Well,
I was being more dark in my interpretation.
yeah, you were.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I should watch it again, but that was my impression when I saw it anyway.
Okay. All right.
Maybe the audience, our viewers, have a different
Yes,
opinion.
if you've got an idea for the inspiration for Daemon's laugh. Hell, was it just like an
exactly.
uncomfortable, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I don't know what to do, I'll laugh. I don't think that's it. But,
Yeah.
you know.
It's not a laugh that's equivalent to, say, the Mary Tyler Moore Show and the Giggles the Clown episode. You know, it's not equivalent to that.
All right, fair enough. With the trifecta of dickishness, the other faction is now obviously Daemon and Rhaenyra, who have now gotten married since their spouses are either dead or faked their death.
Yeah, and they're probably not going to tell, the parents, right? They're not going to tell.
I don't think they can.
Yeah.
That's taking too much of a chance.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that I feel like the show, especially because the show did change that Laenor's death from the book. The book is Daemon paid Carl Die Hard to kill him off, and in this one, obviously, he pays him to help fake the death and sail away. Of course, kill someone in the process.
I mean, one of the interesting things, though, about this, as told by George R.R. Martin, is that this is based on accounts. So
right. Unreliable narrator.
This hasn't been right. Yeah. So this hasn't been talked about, but it was written after it occurred.
Yep.
So I think you could I don't think it's the worst crime in the world to say, you know what, maybe this is what they decided to do.
Right, no, and I guess I wasn't bringing it up for that reason to say, like, it's not canon. I was bringing it up to say the show, I think, is trying to present Daemon and Rhaenyra in a more positive light. Like, they didn't just kill Laenor, they killed an anonymous guy to be Laenor. but like, if you just look at the two factions, I think right now, and maybe, again, if you're out in the audience and you would disagree, feel free to disagree, but I feel like, personally, I'm on the side of Daemon and Rhaenyra, even though their relationship is still really creepy. Yeah. She's like, I'm an adult now, and you're like, yeah, but grooming successful. Ooh. It's like, so it's a very relationship.
Yeah. Looking from it, the situation from our present day and our mores or whatever. I mean, to me, thinking about Game of Thrones and Daenerys and her being king and people resisting and all that, and so it was interesting to sort of look at that, sort of say, wow, I'm rooting for her to change things and make things, and then I think that's why a lot of people were disappointed with how it ended, because then she just revealed herself to be a tyrant like everyone else.
Yeah.
But if you look at the situation that Rhaenyra is in, and she was made the heir, and people were doubtful of that and not really encouraging it, and so she made a number of choices that she might not have made if she didn't feel that pressure. So even with the union between her and her uncle, you could sort of look at that as sort of like she might have felt like she was back into a corner, and that looking back on history in terms of how her family behaved to sort of cull power and
right. It's a smart power play. In other words,
right? Yeah.
Purely in a Game of Thrones style political way.
Yeah.
Her big perceived weakness, and probably justifiably so right now, is people rightfully doubt the parentage of my kids. So if I have a kid with Daemon, people can't question the parentage of that.
Right. Yes.
And so on a purely political level, it works. It's just it's creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah. And you could also too look at that marriage and the upcoming marriages that are going to occur. And the one they talked about.
Oh yeah. Aegon and Helena.
Yeah,
brother
yeah.
sister.
It's sort of like, wow, are these really the best moves you can think of? It's like these values that they have of amassing power and it all in service too of keeping dragons. You could look at the whole thing as sort of like sort of mad power and how it corrupts.
Well, I found it interesting too that Rhaenyra and Daemon obviously are in on faking Laenor's death.
Yes.
She says, water, the sea is an escape as opposed to the fire, which is a prison. And so she basically gave Laenor and Carl the life that she was offered by Kristen, right? So Kristen was like, let's sail away, let's just forget about this Game of Thrones thing. Yeah. And, because she does feel this pressure to play the game, she refused it, but she gave it to someone else. She gave that ability to someone else. And I think, as I mentioned before, I think part of the reason that she feels that pressure is from the story that's written on the dagger that cut her in this episode. I think it was very deliberate to have that dagger cut her. Just to say the importance of what that dagger represents, the future of Targaryens. Sure. We also saw kind of an interesting. Maybe it's just we didn't know enough about Aemond, the second son, yet. But it seemed like, hey, at first it was like this is like the anti-Aegon. Aegon is a terrible kid, drunk all the time, trying to hit on everybody, and Aemond seemed more thoughtful, introspective. Right. He's being picked on because he didn't have a dragon. And then as soon as he gets a dragon, he's a dick. Okay. All right.
It's like I was all the time thinking, at what point can I be a dick?
Right.
I need something. I can't just start being a dick.
Right.
I've got to have something happen that helps people say, wow, now he's a dick. And now he has. Exhibit A. In fact, once he run around without a patch, someone might have suggested it, even if he hadn't lost an eye,
Yeah, you'd look cooler.
You kind of look more like a dick if you had a patch over one eye.
It's true.
It's like,
He does have the cool line there, though. He's like, it was a fair exchange. I lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. All right.
Otto, trying to one up his grandson. It's worth 1,000 times that.
That's right. That's something Carl with a K would say, I feel like.
Yeah.
You mentioned Otto. So Otto, thanks to Larys and his devious killing off of his parent, his dad and his brother, Otto is now back as the Hand. And so Alicent has that. That's a huge, in terms of the game being played, that's a big turn of events. Rhaenyra's, they
could have had him winking at the camera when he was dusting off his hand there.
Oh, right.
He could have hey.
You see him let me just brush that off. It's so new now.
In case you're wondering, audience, I am now the Hand.
The Hand. I liked, too, the conversation that Corlys and Rhaenys had, where Rhaenys basically calls him out. It's like, you're not doing this for somebody else. You're doing it for you. You want power.
Yeah.
And he basically cops to it. He's like, look, it's legacy. What are we doing this for?
Yeah.
Names. That's what's important.
That is true. People tend to remember names more than blood. But after the events of this episode, though, I wonder exactly where they're going to be.
Right. Because now they've had both.
Their children.
Their children are presumably dead in their minds.
Right.
So they've got their grandkids on Daemon's side. Those are probably the two girls are probably their hope of keeping the bloodline going. But the name, you're right. The name could still be a thing on the other side. I was watching this on my iPad. I use my HBO Max. And I watch it, and I was thinking to myself, God bless, this is dark. And I was thinking back, when is the last time I was watching something that was this difficult to see visually?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was The Long Night. Who directed that episode?
Yes.
Oh, the same guy.
Same guy. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's like the makers of the show, like, oh, this is dark. Huh. What's going to make this even more of an event than it already is? Like, I don't know if people, an uncle and a niece getting together on a beach is enough. Maybe, maybe some viewers will thank us if they can't see it.
If they can't, right. Look, we did a lot worse than you actually know. You just couldn't see it, that's all. So.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God they have, platinum blonde hair. I can actually see heads. I'm like, who is over there? Is that a dragon? I didn't even tell. I mean, there was a dragon. Vagar was there. But I was like, half of Vagar was like, I'm assuming there's a dragon there.
It's a wonder that Eamon, he can hold on in the dark.
Right. How could he see? They have infravision. It was like, as it was starting, and like especially with the walk on the beach, and then cutting to Eamon and Vagar, I was like, man, I just want them to just get to morning, and that took a while. That was a lot that happened. Before they got to the next day. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think Sapochnik, maybe on the old saturation levels, maybe you just move the dial back a couple of notches.
Yeah.
Trust someone else's judgment on that. That's like, I think this is pretty good. Maybe let the people see it. That'd be good. Okay.
Yeah.
But that aside, it was an effective episode. The plot got pushed forward quite a bit. Somehow Viserys is still alive. He keeps hanging on. And
although if you look at the scenes from the next episode, you don't see him.
No, I have to think he dies before the end of the season. I feel like that's coming, but he's still hanging in. I thought he was dead a few episodes ago, so he's on borrowed time. You get him, Viserys. No more of those leeches. But anyway, no, it is. It's effective. It's pushing these factions farther and farther apart. We see, the give and take now, looking forward to seeing what develops in the final couple of episodes here for season 1.
Yeah, one thing that strikes me about, you could say, I think the secret to not only again, this House of the Dragon, but also the original Game of Thrones, in a way, is fueling water cooler talk. So, did you see this? Did you see that? Can you believe this? It's sort of like the behavior, the more extreme, I think, the more the successful the episodes are. So,
Oh, sure. Okay.
It's the final showdown to Alicent or not final, but that culminative showdown between Rhaenyra and Alicent. That's the kind of thing that if you were there, you'd be talking about afterwards. And so everybody watching can be like, okay, they finally went at it, and then she cut her and everything, and so it's the kind of thing that and the audiences can spark upon because It's just so outrageous.
Right. There's people willing to go to great lengths for power. And maybe and also driven to, do things that they would not otherwise do.
And it's really interesting to me just hearing about, because I haven't read the books, but that it's told rather in terms of reports. So you don't really get a lot of the flavor that you're getting here. And one of the innovations or decisions of the show is to really emphasize the friendship between Rhaenyra and Alicent early on. So, and so even when all this stuff is happening and Rhaenyra is saying, I don't believe Alicent would do that to her father. And her
right.
To the point where it's like,
quietly
when they're embraced, in class, there she's like, now people could see who you are. And she's one of the people who sees her as she is.
Right. Good point. People, including me,
yes,
see you for what you are. Yeah.
It's like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you need to slash my wrist to really get me the point.
Yeah. Well, it's also funny, like, empathizing with Alice is tricky.
Yes,
because,
it
like,
is.
part of her rage, and she says it again. She said it a couple of times, but she said it
Yeah,
during
yeah,
the
yeah.
night. Was like,
Yeah.
you never follow the rules, and I follow the
Yes,
rules,
yes,
and it's
yes,
not
yes.
fair. Meh. You're like,
Yeah.
okay then, fine. Just get over it. Yeah, I followed rules. I shouldn't have had to follow rules. Why do I follow rules? I'm stupid.
Yeah.
You're like, get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're freaking
It's like,
whining.
yeah.
It's like, okay, well, Rhaenyra made a choice. You're just mad because her choice didn't result in her being less favorable, I guess. You're like, okay, but that's not on her. Anyway, it's weird.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, we'll be back talking about House of the Dragon. We're talking Rings of Power, and we are talking She-Hulk. So come on back for those things. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
Oh, sure, no problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.